What's up, everyone? I'm Merk, and this is Trading Shots, a show where our panelists debate all things CWL. I'm handing out points for strong arguments and hot takes. We're back from CWL Forth Worth, and once again, I'm joined by Benson, Nameless, and Pac-Man. Guys, how we doing today? How was the travels?
Tiring, Joe.
Tired?
I'm a little tired, but I'm ready to argue once again over some pretty good topics today.
My day was amazing. I got back, quick flight, felt great. And yeah, I'm here to go, ready to go.
I had 16 hours sleep, so.
Yeah, I slept a lot.
Yeah.
11,
Pac, how'd you sleep?
No comment?
Sleep well?
It's been wonderful.
It has been wonderful. Now, poor Pat had to basically fly everywhere. But here we go. Let's get into the first question. Whether it was a surprise, upsets, last-minute substitutions, or dark horses coming out on top, Fort Worth was anything but predictable. And, well, we're going to take a look at our Fort Worth standings. If you were hiding under a rock, I don't know where you were, but you know that LG took away the championship. Splice were our runners-up. And, well, third place Reciprocity. We thought maybe they were going to go on that run, maybe make it to the finals. A great event from all these teams. But I want to know, guys, what is your biggest takeaway from Fort Worth? Pac, we'll start with you.
Last year when I was working with Rise, I think that I became numb to watching Gunless play. Like, I watched every single match he ever played. He was so good, right? He's such a god, but I just got so used to seeing it. Now that I've stepped away and I'm watching so many matches all at once, I kind of forgot. This weekend reminded me. Through pool play, he was the only person positive on his team. He had a 1.3. A 1.3 when nobody else on your team is positive. That is so hard to do. And then, as the tournament continued, his teammates improved. They played great. Like, kudos to them. That's why they won the championship. But something about Gunless, he just has it. For the past 3 years, there is no debate that he's the single best COD player in the world. Argue anyone else. You can't. Gunless has been that guy. That's so impressive because we've been through a jetpack COD, a slow, methodical boots game, and now the fastest boots game ever, and he's still either been in the conversation for best player or right at the top of that conversation for 3 years running. Nobody else has even been close to that. Gunless is an incredible player. I think I just forgot.
I mean, he was our MVP as well. I mean, right? I mean, the guy was so good at every single round.
It's 4 MVPs out of 5 event wins.
Since he broke into the scene, like he's just, whatever tournament he wins is just MVP.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And the only thing that stops him from being like in that conversation of maybe all-time great is the fact that he doesn't have a champs ring yet. But it's only a matter of time, right?
Who knows? Who knows when that'll happen? Nameless, for you, what was your biggest Fort Worth takeaway?
What a tough answer to follow up.
I liked it.
I will say my biggest takeaway is that one player can change a team. There's been this sort of, thought in the history of Call of Duty that you have to change like 2 to 3 players on your team to, become a contender. And we're looking at teams like E6 getting 6th place where they didn't look good at all before. They add Chino, and now they're playing amazing. You have Reciprocity making that change and picking up Dylan, and he changed the entire look of that team. The same as 100 Thieves picking up Priesta, and both those teams got 3rd and 4th, and there's no telling how far 100 Thieves could have went if Priesta remained in the tournament if he didn't get sick. And I think that, teams like Envy, teams like EUnited, these teams that were thinking about making changes that ended up not doing it, if they were to release that player who is underperforming, make that one singular change, it can make other players on the team more comfortable in their role, because we're seeing these talented players who aren't performing are like, he just sucks now. No, he's been playing great for multiple games. You just need to put the right system in place. So if somebody isn't running their role correctly, swap them out. And we're seeing better changes now than we have seen in previous CODs because people are making those calculated one-man change.
And based off that, maybe we will see more roster changes, right? We'll get to that a little bit later. For you, Ben, biggest takeaway?
I think my biggest takeaway is the Midnight Squad, Joe. I honestly thought they were going to come out and play as well as... No, I think that was very predictable.
Oh, okay.
And for me, though, real talk, Rampart double FMJ. Classic. You love to see it, buddy. Even after his finals, after they win, he comes out and he says, yep, thanks out. Shout out to the Rampart, baby. It's such a game changer. It's so nice to see something new come in as well. But just a couple of stats for you guys. Obviously, you go back to Vegas. LG, 4th, classic, he plays okay, a 0.95. Pro League goes all the way down to a 0.85, and obviously you can start to see individual struggles. Here, Fort Worth, obviously wins, they go to a 0.96. Now you may think, all right, that's not the biggest change, but the big change for me is how comfortable he looked actually running the gun. And when you have a teammate who's not only playing better in terms of kills, but also EKIAs as well, adding the assist because he's just playing a lot better, he's staying alive for a lot longer. To me, that's a huge addition for the LG squad, and honestly, I think that's one of the reasons, maybe not the biggest reason, because obviously Gunless, let's be honest. One of the reasons, though, they came out with such success and won the event.
And I would honestly say to that point, that sort of goes into what Ant's answer, right? It just really just the team chemistry has to be on point. It could just be as simple as changing a gun. Usually you'll see that over rosters. But yeah, some good answers. Fort Worth was a lot of fun, but I feel like those were some positives. Now I want to focus on the negatives a little bit more. Going up into London, yes, we have a couple of weeks, of cross-divisional play. But I want to know, based off what you've seen already, who needs another roster change? Ben, we'll start with you.
Easy. EUnited. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Before Fort Worth, all the drama comes out, you're looking at it and you're thinking, yeah, they're probably going to make a roster change. All the, whether it's bait tweets, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I'm of the belief that you probably shouldn't even be baiting out tweets like that when it comes to your own roster. You should keep that internal. But something clearly wasn't right. And everyone could see it. And we kind of knew going in, they're probably going to bum out. Did we expect them to bum out as hard as they did?
Well, it was just confusing, though, because, yes, that happened, and there was, two sort of things. The United guys, they were so happy. They were like, you know what, we're feeling good. We got over the issue. But I think a lot of us were just sort of second-guessing it,
I wasn't second-guessing anything.
You can't recover from that.
I didn't second-guess anything.
Here's some stats that kind of support that. Obviously, you go first event of the year. 8-3 is your S&D. 10-7 is your hard point. 7-3 is your control. Good vibes, everything going well. You go to Fort Worth, 2 and 3 search, 1 of 5 hardpoint, 1 of 3 control. I mean, to just absolutely bum out in every single game mode is unacceptable when you look at the quality on that team, in my personal opinion. And I think it's been a time where you needed to make a change. You've held on to players, whether you think they're, these great franchisable players that you're going to build rosters around. Great. I mean, the reality of the situation is you're struggling. You're struggling to win series now. It's bad. It's bad. And maybe they make a change around a sub. We'll wait and see. But one thing's for sure, I think come London, brand new team.
Nameless, for you?
Okay, so that was a good answer, but I'm going to look over towards Envy. I think Envy definitely needed to make a change. You look at their performance in pool play, and they did pretty good. They went 2-1, and they got into the winner's bracket, and then they end up losing and getting top 12. They lost to Heretics 3-1. They got destroyed, and it's just no consistency whatsoever on the side of Envious. You have players like Hook, who is one of the best players in the game, and I think if he was in another situation, he would be the best player in the game. But there's people on the team that are weighing him down, and I think a one-person change could help, but they actually may need to switch multiple people on that roster. Like you look at Apathy, he has a .88. You look at Aches, there's zero consistency in him whatsoever in the game. In the Optic match, Aches was going off every single map. He played amazing, and the intensity in that match was completely different. It's like that he can't keep it going throughout the entire tournament, and you could tell the chemistry is not there. It feels like every couple of weeks there's rumors of Hook asking to be on another team, asking to pick up a new player, and if you look at Envy in the Pro League, they look terrible. It's like, when are you going to make that change? I think you have to do it in the next roster period. And you don't even have a sub to put on your team now, so you're kind of stuck with it. It's just a terrible situation overall. I think Envy absolutely need a change.
I mean, it's what we always say with Envy, right? It's just flip a coin, heads or tails. What is Envy going to do? And after Friday, after they beat Optic, and you're seeing Pat get all hyped, I thought this was like an opportunity for them. I thought this was going to be the event when they got into that winner's bracket where, hey, they're back, right? That World Championship team plus Hook. Apathy was playing better on Friday as well. But, yeah, they bombed right out, losing 2 in a row. Pac-Man, for you, after what you saw this weekend, who do you think needs that roster change?
So, with all the teams that we saw make one-player moves that worked, they were SOG players. Like Prisa, aggressive SOG, Dylan, aggressive SOG. Evil Genius has picked up a Tatch. He had the 5th highest KD, period. A 1.2. That is terrific. A 1.2. They won 2 maps. You need 3 maps to win a series. They won 2 maps. And that, it's just, they don't even look terrible, but it obviously doesn't work. Like, when I say they don't look terrible, I mean, against Optic, they were up 100 points in the hard point. Lost. 5-2 in the search. Lost. It's just like they are missing something. They're missing intangibles, if you want to call it that, clutch factor, X factor. They are missing something, but whatever it is, it's gone. Like, they don't even believe in themselves. They are scared to close out maps at this point. They need to switch it up. They need to get a SOG first, or 2 SOGs. That seems to be the obvious key in improving every single roster right off the bat. When your SOGs struggle, your team struggles, period. You got to pick someone up for those guys, for Fellow or Royalty. I don't know. They know their team better than I do, but something has to change. They need pressure and aggressive, consistent pressure so they can compete.
It just feels like, basically on what you're talking about, they need a closer, right? Like someone confident.
Composure.
Yeah, a little composure. I think one guy that is reciprocity for Dylan. It just felt like in every tough situation, they're still a new team, but when it came down to clutching up, like he was the guy making the play, right? So I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to watch Evil Geniuses if they improve these next couple of weeks, or going into London if they're going to make another roster change. All right, guys, but that is going to do it for First Blood. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our scores. It's a pretty close one at the start, but Nameless is in first place. Ben, you're in last. You're at 5, but woo! That's all right. You got a lot of time to pick it back up.
Don't worry. I have faith in myself, Joe. I have faith in myself.
And now let's get started with Quick Scope. Fan favorite teams, the Optic and EUnited, weren't able to live up to expectations this event, but they weren't the only ones to fall short of their goals. What was the most surprising early exit? Ben, we'll start with you.
I mean, this is the easy one. You may as well start racking up the points now, Joe. Optic Gaming, you won the last event. What the hell happened? You obviously heard Pat make a great point about the subs. Where were you? Where were the subs for Optic Gaming? Non-existent. I think they were probably still at Vegas. It felt that way, that's for sure. Obviously, you can make the argument, oh, well, they had to go through a substitution in the league, and that's tough, getting your position back. It's just not good enough, though, when push comes to shove. You pre-line. Where was the showing from the pre-line? It didn't look good at all for, well, the majority of teams that actually went there. But for me, Optic, from first to this now, Joe, it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough.
Yeah, I think Scump sort of tweeted it felt like a World War II event for them, where it just felt like there was so much pressure on them, but it just felt like things weren't right. Like something was off, and it felt that way.
World War II event,
it looked that
Scump got destroyed. I mean, just being honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe that's it, but it just felt like their teamwork was off compared to Vegas. Pat, for you, what's your answer?
See, if you were just to ask me this before the event, I'd have to agree with Ben, Optic. But Friday, the envious that we saw, I was like, you know what, Nameless, you're right. Because before the event, he predicted them to go off. And I was watching them Friday. Like you said, Pat went off. 7,000 damage versus Optic, 3 Ps, clutching up. I'm like,
this Envy's
I'm like, this is Envy's event. This is going to be them. And then on Saturday, we just saw the same Envy that we saw Pro League. First off, it started with the Reciprocity, round 11 loss. Then Red Reserve, round 11 loss. Heretics, round 11 loss. Like, they couldn't close. I don't understand what happened to them, but to go from the way they looked on that Friday to being double first rounded essentially in winners bracket, and then to lose without winning a series in bracket play, I don't know, it's pathetic.
Nameless? Who was that team for you?
It was Envy, same thing. They had a 67% map record in pool play, which is like...
It was a pool of death.
Yeah, and it was the pool of death, and that's why I bring that point up, because they had the 3rd best map record of anybody in pool play across all the groups in the hardest one. They were 8-4 map count in groups. They ended the tournament 9-10 map count. So it's like you go from absolutely amazing beating these teams to just getting destroyed, and it's like, what are you doing? There's no consistency there. I talked about it, in First Blood. It's like you needed to make that change. You didn't. The chemistry wasn't there, and you got destroyed. Like kind of picking up on Pac's point. Envy just looked terrible on Saturday.
No EUnited from you guys, huh?
I already talked about it being disappointing.
They needed to make a change.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that with the turmoil going in that EUnited needed to make a change. But surprising is Envy, because they looked so good on Friday and then just nowhere to be found on Saturday.
All right, well, there was another tournament that we had at Fort Worth. The open bracket finals saw FC Black winning over Mind Freak. I want to know from you guys, which open bracket player, if any, are we most likely to see on the Pro League stage? Pac, is there any players you want to see?
I want to say Celium, because after they won, right away, every single one of his teammates said, Celium's a god. So you didn't get to see all the matches, but Celium must have been running through all those kids. So we saw him play in the Pro League qualifiers. Yeah, he stumbled here and there, but we saw some flashes of greatness. But that was his first time on LAN. Then he goes through the open bracket. He gets to just essentially dump on kids that he's just way better than. Now that he's been through that, he has that experience that he didn't have to start. Now with that experience, he can definitely take his youth and talent that we all know he has and take that to a pro team.
And it seems like, the risk on a young player is paying off for a lot of teams so far this year. Nameless, which open player do you want to see?
Okay, so I do agree with you. I think that that's what Celium needed. I kind of want to, because earlier
testing the confidence.
Earlier in the season, people, they were mad at me because I said he got blessed. But I wanted him to do something like that before he got picked up. So I'm not going to say him, though. I am going to say Simp. EU has been struggling, right? And there was talks about them picking up Simp previously. And I think now that you have players like JCap having a .79 KD, people are uncomfortable on the team. They went like, 3-8 map count in group play. I think you do put Simp on that team. I think you give him his shot. He did win alongside with Celium. And Simp's a player that is incredibly talented. We've been looking at him for multiple years, waiting for him to turn 18, and now it's his time. I think he needs to get that spot after getting that experience in the Game Fuel Open bracket.
And I think based off what both of you guys said, both Simp and Celium, I think a lot of people were just waiting on, hey, how good are they going to play on LAN? And yes, obviously, it's not pro league teams, but there's some story teams. They beat Mindfreak in a reverse sweep in the finals. That's got to tell you something. Ben, for you, any AMP players you want to see on a pro league team?
Yeah, Joe. I think this is an easy one.
Okay.
I think it's a trick question, too.
All right.
You already saw Ben's tweet LFA. Well, who is their sub? It's going to be Shox. You're going to see him in the pro league, that is for sure. And to talk a little bit about that Ben's decision, I mean, you saw how excited the Red Reserve guys were, right? As soon as it's announced 5v5, boom, tweet out. You're thinking, whoa, these guys have this ready for a while. Let me tell you, didn't work out. Bence has been a player who I think coming in to last year, people were like, okay, he's going to be great. Kind of average. And this year it was kind of like, okay, well, we know what we can get for him in more of an advanced movement game. Didn't really see it at all, Joe, and I'm kind of disappointed. But Shox, you should do okay. Temporary fix. Temporary fix.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Do you just see it as like this next couple of weeks?
You'll see him for 2 weeks, and then I think after that, as soon as rosters open, boom. And I have a pretty good idea who I know they're going to go after, but I don't want to say it
Spill
yet.
the beans.
Nope.
Ooh,
this ain't drama alert. I ain't keen
Hey, go ahead and spill the beans. I'll give you a point right now.
Nope.
Alex.
That's who I think. I think it will be Alex.
Wow, hard guess. All right, but
Give me my point.
No, they spilled it. They spilled it, not you. You had your chance.
I don't know it for sure, but that seems like the logical. That seems like the logical addition you're gonna go with. You're gonna see Shox in the Pro League 1,000% just for 2 weeks, and I think it's probably a good thing for Benson means he can pack up, go home, and live on the rest of his life.
Wow. No. All right. On to the next question. Luminosity, Splice, and Reciprocity, the top 3 teams of the event, all placed in the middle of the pack in Pro League. Reciprocity having the worst record of 2-5. Who was the most improved player from Pro League to Fort Worth? Nameless, we're starting with you.
I'm going to say Shawnee. I know a lot of people might think, some of the other players, but I think Shawnee, he was a .88 in the league, right? He didn't play that great. And then he goes over to Fort Worth and drops a 1.05 over 41 maps. Like, that is a crazy amount of games played, and that's a .17 increase in KD. They placed third, and a lot of people might say Dylan, made him play a lot better, which is very true. But Shawnee to be able to do that after in the league, you looked at him and he was the guy you're like, he needs to pick it up for them to be better. And he stays on the team. He stays through that roster change. They get rid of Den, so he survives that. And after that, he plays amazing at Fort Worth to justify him being on the roster. I think that he's the most improved player.
Well, that was sort of the big story. Even we were discussing on the desk here. Is it Dens or is it Shawnee? I thought it was going to be Shawnee, but supposedly there was just pacing issues, and as you said, maybe Dylan helped him out. Ben, you're up. Who do you think was the most improved?
You said Shawnee had a what? .17?
.17.
.17. All right. Well, how about .34 for you? Kenny, Rookie of the Year last year, had a phenomenal season. Coming in the year, you're thinking, oh my God, this is exciting. What are we going to get to see from him? And you saw nothing. Basically didn't exist. Was a walking free kill on the map. Now, however, all of a sudden he's found that form. I spoke to him and he actually said the words, I learned the game. I know what I'm doing more now. I feel more comfortable. You see different strats come out. He'll pop out the ICR to open up on certain hills, open up on certain maps. Everything going his way, Joe, and he looks like that beast you expect to see.
Dude, that team, I think we all do. I think they do as well. Obviously, it was a very unfortunate situation with Priesta, but I think everybody in that room just wish to see what that roster could have done on Sunday.
They would have got choke slammed in the finals, but they would have.
I mean, you say that, but
there's no guarantee they would have been in the finals.
I think that they probably would have made it to the finals just because they were playing amazing, but they would have got choke slammed.
I think everybody just wants to know. I'm sure they want to know. Yeah, obviously, 100 Thieves, I mean, such a great showing for them. I think everybody wishes that we could see them on Sunday. Obviously, we're happy that Priest is healthy. We'll see them back in a couple of weeks, but that feeling of the unknown, right? The feeling of the unknown just really hurts for them. But as I said, another opportunity in a couple of weeks. Pac-Man, for you, who was that most improved player?
From the Pro League to Fort Worth, see, this is weird. I'm going to look at it from a different angle. Not statistically, but just as an individual, I'm gonna have to go with Slacked. If you think back to the beginning of Pro League to where we are now, after week 1 of his week in Pro League, everyone was ready to drop him. He was just a giant meme in the chat. Say whatever you want to say about him, but he was getting roasted for every single decision he made. He missed a grab time, roasted. He lost a gunfight, roasted. The Slack that we saw on Sunday was amazing. His pacing was on point. He was right there with his teammates everywhere he needed to be. It's not always about stats. He in Classic specifically brought that team together to a point that allowed Gunless to do what he did on the map. Like we said, it's all about your SOGs, and for him to step up from where we saw him to the point where he was on Sunday at Fort Worth is an incredible performance for me.
Yeah, I think for Slacked as well, just that sort of mental strength, right? Like, it is tough. Like, I don't care what people say. Yes, you can just sort of avoid those things, but it's very hard to, right? You know, with Twitter, Reddit,
You're always gonna hear
even the
it.
chat, it is very difficult to deal with. But hey, that is one way to show them, prove them wrong, and to hold that trophy. And well, last question for Quick Show. Finally, what player needs to step it up the most after Fort Worth? Ben, starting with you.
This is a tough one because I went statistically a 0.32 negative difference, all right? So we'll play a game. We'll see if you can guess the player, Joe, okay? Fort Worth, it was a 0.72, number 81, last of all players in the AKD. Sheesh. Bottom of the barrel, as opposed to a 1.04, number 29 in the Pro League. Any idea who it could be? Islamagod.
Okay.
Bruh, what are you doing? Now,
that?
obviously, you can make the argument of you have a brand new team around you. That's acceptable, okay? I'll give you a little bit of a benefit, especially some of the players that they actually picked up in terms of bait, but still, that is not good enough. 0.032, that is the most we have ever seen in CWL history, by the way, from one event to another.
Yeah, I think, again, the big thing with Midnight is they knew how to play that game, and Lamagod, without those guys, well, looked a little bit lost. Didn't look much like a god, did he?
I don't think it's his fault, though. I think that's something you could say with the players that are around him now. Like, you're adjusting to a brand new system, brand new players, and I think some of those players have been known to bait a little bit, and he's in that unfortunate situation.
All right, Pack, for you, who's got to step it up?
For me, it's going to be Diabolic from E6. So now I'm saying Diabolic because his team made it to top 6. They were in winners. He was doing really well. I remember JP had tweeted something about him. He was out there performing along with the best songs in the game. But as soon as it went to top 6, winner semis, he got completely shut down. That's what you're at this point now. You can win a tournament. You can get to a winner's finals, loser's finals. Go out there and perform. You went from a 0.99 AKD, which was actually the highest on his team in Pro League, to a 0.7, to a 0.79. That's not good enough. You're right there. Get over that little bit of a hump and get your team to a winner's finals. Instead, what happened? You got completely outperformed by the other team's SOGs, and your team suffered tremendously.
Yeah, I think for E6, it was a great run by them. Again, they had to just survive their pools. They had a tough bracket. You know, obviously, that winter semi, they go up against a very hot team. But you're in that, right? That's your chance. It is your opportunity to really maybe get top 3, surprise a lot of us. Even top 6, though, I think it's a big improvement with Money Chain. And for you, though, who's got to step it up?
Okay, I'm not going to put on one singular player because they both played awful, Scump and TJ. And I know the Reddit trolls are going to be out mad at me for this one, so I'm going to list off some stats for you. They were number 63 and 64 out of 80 KD overall, right? You go first to top 12. Dashy and Krim were both top 15 in overall performance at the event. If you have people doing that, you got to be able to follow them up in entry and just trade. Like, there's something going wrong with Optic Gaming SOGs. Even the first game, me and Ben Cassidy were watching them, and Dylan and Zed completely outperformed them, and they lost their first match because of it. And if you look at that Optic Gaming roster, you go Scump and Tej should be the deadliest SOG duo in the game. And at this event, in the pool play groups, they were one of the worst SOG duos in the game. If they improve, obviously Optic can get back to where they were, but I think Krim got even better from Vegas. So it's like, if they were able to just play just a little bit better, we see an Optic that goes up to top 4. But, you know, for me, they were the 2 players that underperformed.
But that is going to do it for Quickscope. Let's go ahead and check the standings. And I believe that's going to put Pack and Ant in the top spot. So unfortunately for you, Ben, you will be dismissed. A very back and forth one.
Good episode. It was a good
Well,
episode.
got any last words?
Just GG's.
Oh, GG's.
Just a little, just.
Ben's so polite now. I love this guy.
You don't got nothing to say. Just,
Just GG's.
Good game, bye.
Good hosting today, Joe. You're on point as well.
Thanks, Ben. That's so nice. And it is down to 2. Nameless versus Pac-Man in our grand finals. The winner will enter the Smack Talk Winner Circle presented by Astro Gaming. It's time to look forward to the first week of cross-divisional play. Let's go ahead and bring up that schedule. We're going to see a whole lot of teams. We're going to see our champions, Luminosity, EUnited, with top teams placing low and the middle teams rising up. I want to know which team has the most to prove next week. Ant, you're in the lead by 1. You're up first.
Without a doubt, in my opinion, it is Evil Geniuses. You got to prove that you're good enough to be in the league, 1, and 2, you have to prove that you can win more than 2 maps. Like, throughout an entire tournament, 2 and 12 map count is unacceptable. You need to prove that dropping Faceno was worth it. Like, you drop a player into retirement and you make 0 improvement. You literally got absolutely destroyed. Like, going into this week, you have to prove to your fans that you can play better. You need to prove to your organization that they shouldn't drop the whole darn roster at this point. Like, I think you keep attached and drop like 3 players. Like, there's players on this team who've consistently been choking over the years, like Royalty, like Gunjar. They've been right on the cusp of being on a consistent top 8 team, and it just hasn't happened for them in quite some time. And for Evil Geniuses, winning 2 maps at the tournament, you go into this cross-divisional play, you have EU, Heretics, Envy, and Accelerate. You only have 1 easy game. The rest of those teams outperformed you at the last event and outperformed you in the Pro League. You have a lot to prove this week. You don't have much time to do it. After that performance in Fort Worth, the very next week, you're going to be coming here to play cross-divisional play. You better fix your problems right now, or Evil Geniuses is probably going to release some of you guys.
All right, so EG's like, yeah, you better pick it up, huh?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they have to.
I guess the one good thing is I have seen some tweets that they're going back to the, their boot camp and hopefully fixing some things. Pat, for you, who's that team that has to step it up?
For me, that team is EUnited. From 2nd to 16th, last place, that speaks for itself. And now there's rumors that Simp is going to be added to the team for either JCap or Clayster. We're not sure which, but does it really matter which one? Simp is going to replace one of the few Call of Duty legends, no matter which one it is. So you pick him up, next week you play EG, UIU, LG, and Red. You only have 1 tough match, really, and that's LG. If you don't come out of that week at least 3-1 after having dropped a COD legend, you're gonna be in a spot where people are looking at you like, you dropped JCap for this? You dropped Clay for this? You know what happens when you drop JCap, right? You know what happens.
Why you gotta hit me in a soft spot right there?
You know what happens. He's going to figure it out. A couple months goes by, he's going to win champs or something like that. So you got to be careful with what you do. It has to work out.
He's going to win champs with what team?
It has to work out.
Who's he going to, like...
Okay,
you
could easily say that before. He won champs with Denial.
Okay.
You did it.
That was
no one would have
early
ever
in the
predicted
game.
that.
Cap has been consistently dropping 0.7. So if they do release Cap and he joins in another team...
0.79.
What team's he going to join? What team's he going to join?
I don't know. I can't tell the future.
Okay, what team do you theoretically...
Either way,
or Clay.
Either way, if they drop Clay, someone will pick up Clay. Like I just said, these are Call of Duty legends. There's no way that at this point in their career, they haven't
Clay
proven
gets
enough.
on a team. I think Cap is... I don't know if he'll...
Okay, so you're going to look at the league and the status that it's in now and tell me that Cap won't end up on a team? I know you don't actually. I know you don't
I'm not joining Accelerate.
I know you don't actually.
I'm not doing that. If I'm Cap, I would not even play with those.
What do you mean? You don't think Envious would pick up Cap?
Possibly.
You don't think Apathy?
Wait.
First of all, you don't think Apathy?
Pat is the ultimate swindler.
I don't care. I'm not talking about Pat.
Who would Cap join that team for? Who would Cap join that team for?
He could join it for Pat.
He would join it for. Okay.
I'm not saying that'll happen, but I'm saying you don't think that Envy would take JCap back.
How many times has Pat been dropped, Pac? How many times?
I don't know. Who cares?
Okay. Pat will not let himself get swindled. It will not happen. I'll let you know that right now. JCap will not join that team for Aches. There's no way.
I didn't even say that. You just made that up. I never said that JCap would join Envy for Aches. I said that he would join Envy. Hastro had seen nothing but success with JCap on his team. I don't know.
Who do you think?
I can't tell the future. I'm not going to make their rosters for them. They have to pay me for that. But
you're not making sense.
JCap went to back-to-back champs finals with Apathy on his team. So you don't think JCap would mind leaving his team to go team with Hook?
Okay, he wouldn't mind. What I'm saying is, why would Envy
why would Envy do that?
Envy
because they just got smoked. They're not playing well.
Same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
And Pat actually performed better. Pat actually performed better than Pat over the last couple of weeks in the last couple of matches they played. Pat performed better than JCap.
That's not even the argument that I'm making, and that's just like a number on a page.
So why would they do that?
first of all, J-Cap's best placing in this game is second. What's Pat's?
Okay, J-Cap's best placing is second, but his team went off, and that was very early on.
His team went off. So you don't give any credit to a guy on the team.
Good.
So I'll take J-Cap on my team if he's gonna not go off, but he's gonna help my teammates go off when he plays better.
I'm just looking from the lens of a realistic, from a real-world standpoint. Pat is not gonna allow himself to be dropped.
Why does he keep talking about
I've been
Pat?
playing for 10 years because he's the only. Let's be honest, he's the only player that would get released from Envy for Cap if they were to do that. And I don't see it happening at all.
True.
I don't see it happening. So Pat and Cap are gonna team. Pat and Cap are gonna team. You know them. You know both of them. You think Pat and Cap?
Okay, but you saying that Aches can't get dropped does not mean it's true. Just because you say that out loud does not mean it's.
All right, whatever. We can agree to disagree with that. I know Pat.
You know how I know that's for a fact?
He's not getting
because Aches got dropped from Envy in the past.
Okay.
And Envy won Black Ops 3 chance.
Sure, but you're saying that Cap
Aches got dropped from Envy Us, the team he's on now, in the past, and he won Black Ops 3 chance.
It will not
so for him to say that it can't happen, or that it hasn't happened, is completely false because it did happen, and they won the ring.
To disagree. Since then, Pat won last year's
and
champs.
And as far as your answer goes, doesn't matter what EG does.
On his side, he will not get dropped.
Doesn't matter what EG does.
If he does, I'll be extremely mind-blown.
If EG goes 4-0 this week, that's the only thing that's could possibly salvage what they do. They go 3-1 or 2-2, it doesn't matter.
Oh, they have worlds to prove. EG has they have to prove
roster
that they
movement
deserve
period,
to be in the league.
Something else is changing. There's no need.
They should honestly pick up all the FaZe Black members and put them on EG,
being in the league. They're in the league. That's it. They're in the league.
All right. That was very back and forth, but that is going to do it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the scores. And I'm going to be honest with you. It was a close one. But Pac, he just edged it out by 1 point. Pac, you're going to the Smack Talk Winner Circle presented by Astro Gaming. Pac-Man, as the champ for the week, your prize is 60 uninterrupted seconds to say whatever you want to whoever you want. Put on that golden headset.
Woo! Name was last week. I told you had to get better. You still got to get better, man. You are trash. No, I'm kidding. That was a good, fun debate. I want to talk to the fans at CWL Forth Worth. It's not going to be a trash talking segment. You guys were amazing. I loved it. I didn't go to the last Birmingham event, but apparently everyone tells me that that event was even better. If you guys at London could outdo the crowd that we saw at CWL Forth Worth, I would be shocked. Those guys were amazing with or without Optic Gaming playing. That's a change. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Everyone that goes to the events, they know that when Optic's there, there's a different energy. Of course, they deserve it. They deserve their fan base, their love. But when the other teams were playing, the CWL Forth Worth crowd was out there for everyone on a high level. We loved it. London, if you do better than that, I will be shocked. I can't wait for that. It's going to be so much fun. Nameless sucks.
You're trash.
Pac is our champ. I like that. Yeah, he's showing some love to the fans. I thought the fans were great in Fort Worth, but as you said, Birmingham last year was a great time. So hopefully London shows up. But yeah, Fort Worth, you guys were amazing. Let's go ahead and take a look at our show win standings. Everybody's pretty close, but I believe Pac-Man now has 3 wins, and you still have a very good win percentage. So we know you'll be back up here at times this year. I'm sure you'll get a few more W's. But that is going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.